Hey everybody, it's Carrie, owner and maker of Couture Candle Company. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. All right, today we are wrapping up our magical witchy fragrances. This is a video series I created with Ryan from Hippie Witch Hat. If you missed the others, I'll link them down below. I can't link 3 videos here, but basically in the first video, Ryan did sort of a blind first impressions of what I consider to be some really magical witchy fragrance oils from Candle Science. And then in 2 videos, what I did is I created some really magical, unique blends. And then I had Ryan pick his favorites. And then we created candles with like the top 8 contenders. So I'm here today to rate the cold and hot throw, to tell you how those blends did. I provided the blends and the percentages at the end of the videos and during the end of those videos. So if you want to make these yourself, please do. And if you do, I'd love it if you came back here and let me know if you like them and how they turned out. So let's get into it. All right, we did a rose oud and smoked oud. We did a 50-50 blend. Ryan described the smoked oud as ancient, like an ancient bookstore. And I adore that description. I think that's so cool. And he was saying, oh, it's like an inner wisdom moment. The rose oud, he's like, this smells like an old lady. And I think rose oud is very particular because rose and carnation, that blend can lean a little older, but I told Ryan we're going to make that work. And I'm going to show you how.
No, we're going to make Naughty Librarian. We don't need... Candle Science just helps us set the foundation.
So we blended rose oud and smoked oud. The cold throw, so off the bat, the oud, the rose, the smoke, that incense, that's the first thing that you get, like an amalgam of all of those things. So I have cat hair in my mouth. What else is new? And so you hang there for a second and then it jumps right into like the earthy, musky sense of amber, the musks, and the myrrh. So I'm getting leather on the very back end of the cold throw. For me, I think this is a gorgeous blend that reminds me of a mystical old bookstore. Cold throw is fantastic. All right, let's get into the hot throw. So the hot throw is more of a smoky rose and oud blend. I wrote it's very magical, very witchy. It's perfectly balanced with the warm notes of the musk and myrrh. I love this blend. It's so unique. And I liked rose and oud. I can see where the old ladiness comes to mind for folks, but this was a good one. All right, the next one we did is smoked oud and amber noir. If you're not new to my channel, then you already know I love amber noir. It's so good. We did a 70-30 blend, and honestly, I think that we should swap so there's more smoked oud than amber noir. For me, it's so sweet. The amber noir is just overpowering the smokiness of the smoked oud. It's like the plum, the citrus, the amber. It was so cloying for me, and that is very unusual because I've worked with amber noir and I love amber noir. The sweet spice of the amberous, the balsamic sweetness of the benzoin are overpowering the smoky, earthy notes of the smoked oud. So I made a note asking, did we make a mistake, or more to the point, did I make a mistake, because it's simply too sweet and the smoked oud is absolutely lost. How did it perform in the hot throw? Okay, it's definitely better. The smoke and incense are definitely more prominent. The sweetness is dialed back a ton. It's less fruity, it's more smoky, balsamic, oudy. I would still play with the percentages there because smoked oud, I think, needs to be the star of the show, with amber noir as like a light blend. So I would consider cutting it in half, like maybe doing 15. It was still good. It was better, but not as good as I thought it was going to be. Okay, the next blend is rosemary, sage, and mistletoe. We did a 60-40. The cold throw, rosemary, eucalyptus, pine, and berry, like all of that bundled up in that order. Rosemary, eucalyptus, pine, and berry, like boom, 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 boom. They all sort of just are stitched together, and then I get the red currant, so it's really nice, but it finishes strong with a cedar patchouli blend. Though they're light, they're very complementary. And again, if you're not new here, you know I love patchouli and cedar. I think this is a super nice like fall winter scent. It's less witchy, it's more classic, like a Christmas morning to me. But I think the blend is perfect. Me and Ryan were 100% simpatico on this blend. We actually said it at the same time, like, oh, rosemary sage, like what should we do as the blend? And we both said 60-40.
It's pretty strong.
I agree.
So I would do probably like 60-40.
All right, how did rosemary sage and mistletoe do for the hot throw? The burn test was stellar. It is so lovely. The berry is more prominent in the hot throw. The rosemary, pine, eucalyptus are a little more backgrounded. It's still very crisp, but it's lightly sweet crisp. Beautiful. Things I would change is I would do a 9% load instead of 8%. I would just take that up a little bit. Rosemary and sage are a little bit stronger in a candle than mistletoe. So mistletoe needs a little bit of help. So I think it's awesome. Ryan ended up ordering a wholesale order of the rosemary, sage, and mistletoe blend. And I appreciate that. We're friends, but Ryan is a huge supporter of what I do, my company, my products. So I was so thankful to create that wholesale order for Ryan. All right, sticking with rosemary and sage, we blended that with cranberry prosecco. And what's interesting about this is this was the original OG, like this is the one I want for the candle, because Ryan knew that he was going to place a wholesale order, but he thought it would be this blend. So let me tell you about it. We did an 80-20 blend. The cold throat, this is definitely the witchier blend using rosemary and sage. The first thing I smell is a strong eucalyptus and pine soaked in rosemary. Eucalyptus is like, you know, there is eucalyptus essential oil in this blend, so that just, I'm always going to get the eucalyptus first, just being allergic to it. However, the cranberry and citrus in that blend do not show up for a while. So you're sitting there with sort of that herby effervescence with the rosemary and the eucalyptus. My note here is that I would adjust the blend to add more cranberry prosecco. Instead of 80-20, I would actually consider a 60-40 and see how that goes. I just think the rosemary is too overpowering. It's like just make a rosemary candle at that point. All right, hot throw. It's very rosemary and pine forward. The cranberry and citrus are just too light. I think my instincts with the cold throw were accurate here. 60-40 for sure is what I wrote. There's just not enough berry, which is strange because the cold throw now, after being lit, the berry is way more present. So, you know, you have a candle that's unlit, you have the cold throw, you smell your notes, and then you light the candle, you do a burn test, and then after that, the cold throw will change because you've now bloomed all of the fragrances in the candle. These are some testers that I made for something else, but I think that's interesting, and this is why you test. Test. Okay, moving on, white sage and lavender, and then we blended that with oak moss and amber. Excuse me. I use both of these in my product line. Oak moss and amber is so good. We did a 70-30 blend. Where my notes are, this is so fresh and crisp. Oh, I wrote crisps. Crips. Okay, Carrie. It reminds me of being outdoors. Very sage and lavender forward. It's earthy, mossy, it's camphorous. It's so good. And then it finishes strong with a wrap of sandalwood, amber, and cedar. It's good. It's super gorgeous. I think that we could try a 60-40 blend to bring the citrus forward more in the oak moss. And I think that could be like the sweet spot for this blend. All right, hot throw. The white sage and lavender are very, very strong. It's perfectly herbaceous and earthy, but the oak moss and amber, I would, again, it's just going back to consider the alternate ratio of 60-40. Yeah, I think that it's important to keep track and write notes like this. So in the future, as you're doing other blends, you can go back and read, how did that perform? How did it do with this different pairing, this different blend, whatever. Because you'll never remember it all exact, or maybe you're amazing. You're a wizard and you can. I am not. I need to keep track of all these so I can remember how things perform, but very, very interesting. Okay. This one was, we ended up doing this off camera. I think we did smell it quickly on camera. Petrichor was just, the blends I had was just not vibing with Ryan. I don't think petrichor, he's just saying petrichor just may not be something in his line that he would use in a candle form. We went to the Candle Science website just to see, and they recommended you blend it with Moonflower nectar. I love Moonflower nectar. I created my first year, the summer candles. I had a beautiful blend with that, and I didn't think it would work. I was like, that sounds crazy, but I don't mind being wrong sometimes, and I was 100% wrong. Moonflower nectar and petrichor at a 90-10 blend ratio. Let's get into it. Cold throw. The first impression fragrances that I smell are cherry blossom, pear, and agave, but they all smell like they're wet, like they've been in the rain. Wet and dirty. And then you have the moss, the powder, and the musk all wrapped in the middle with an amber finish. It's dumb. It's so stupid. It's great. Let me tell you about the hot throw. I wrote, this is awesome. I love the Moonflower. It smells very similar to the cold throw, but everything is just bloomed and warmed up. This is the most true to life cold throw to hot throw candle blend. Because, I mean, if you're a candle maker, you know, and if you're not, I'm going to share some info with you. The cold throw is not 100% indicative of what it's going to smell like when it's warm, when it's lit. So keep that in mind. So things that maybe you don't get in the cold throw will come to life and become more present and forward when it's been lit. So, you know, it's interesting. Blending and just even putting one fragrance in a candle is so interesting how it transforms. The next blend we did was Egyptian Amber with smoked oud at a 70-30 blend. Cold throw. My first impression is that this... Oh God, that's right. Hear me out. This next blend is very unique. I want to preface this by saying I have the nose of a bloodhound, and I smell things that most people don't smell at all. I did pull Pete in for this one because I was like, oh, am I crazy? Let me just get into it. The blend is Egyptian Amber and smoked oud. It's a 70-30 blend. Cold throw. I say this with all the love in my heart. The first impression is it smells like pee on wet grass. Just generic pee, not animal, not human, just a general like, oh, somebody has peed here after it rained. It's just weird, and it was very hard to get past that, but then when I did eventually get past that, it smells like jasmine and the both dark and the light musks and the oud and pea. It just smells so different from the blotter strips. Like it's insane to me. Let's get into the hot throw. Bear with me. My note here is to up the fragrance load to 9 or the max 10%. Less PE, doesn't smell like pee. It's sweet and floral because you get that musk and the jasmine, so you're getting that sweetness from the musk and the floral from the jasmine. I don't smell any smoke and incense. I think the Egyptian Amber is taking over, and similar to the Amber Noir with the smoked oud, dial the Egyptian Amber way back. It's just very strong jasmine, like jasmine forward. It's a nice blend. I think it's a tough sell if you were selling this blend, that if people like me smell Hurine first, it's probably not going to do well. So I think dialing back that Egyptian Amber will help it, but not my favorite. It's nice, but it wasn't my favorite. And it's not just because of the cold throw. I think there's way more interesting blends to do out there. I saved the best for last. My personal opinion, this is my favorite. And it is Egyptian Amber. And This will come as no surprise to you if you have been around here for a minute. Egyptian amber blended with palo santo and sandalwood. Obviously, we did a 60-40 blend. Let me tell you about the cold throw. I get the floral notes first, so I get violet, saffron, and jasmine, and then the palo santo, patchouli, and sandalwood. It's like this earthy moss with a slight incense finish, like there's some smokiness there. I love this blend. So then, of course, when I lit it, I had such high hopes for it, and it did not disappoint, honey. A hot throw. This is my favorite blend. Absolutely lovely, perfect blend. Palo santo, the sandalwood, the incense, it hits first, which in the cold throw, it came after. And then it's followed by the florals, which in the cold throw, again, it was reversed. I got the florals first, but those get backgrounded because you have all these earthy, musky fragrances that come first. And I love it. The only thing I would change is I would up the fragrance oil. Egyptian amber is super light. In my wax, it needs a 10% load. I just did 8 for this because I wanted to see how it played with the palo santo, but Egyptian amber should be added at 10%, and then palo santo is fine at its normal load. Again, though, it's something that you can play with, but that was a hit for me. Pete loved it. He smelled it. He was like, oh my, he kept going back and picking that candle up. So not when it was lit, after it was lit. Yeah, he loved it too. It was his favorite too. So that wraps up this finding witchy, magical fragrance oils with candle science. So I hope you enjoyed this. And if you haven't, check out Ryan's channel. I'll link down below. As much as I love candle science, I am very happy with the True to Life fragrances. I do use other oils from other companies, so I'll be sharing those fragrances in some future videos. I want to share all the love and goodness. All right, y'all, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the like button or leave a comment down below. That really helps me out, and it lets the YouTube algorithm know that this is the kind of content it should float to you, and it'll push my channel out to new folks so we can grow our fam. You can check out my playlist as well of all the first impressions fragrance oils and my playlist on Let's Make Stuff Together. So if you are interested in that content, I've got some playlists over there that you can check out. And until the next video, I'll see you then. Bye.